I am Young Dolph, born Adolph Thornton Jr., a rapper hailing from the vibrant streets of Memphis, Tennessee. My journey in the music industry is marked by an unyielding independent spirit, a trait that has defined my career and set me apart from many of my peers. From the very beginning, I knew that my path would be different, that I would carve out my own space in the world of hip-hop without relying on the traditional avenues that often constrain artistic freedom. Growing up in Memphis, I was surrounded by a rich musical heritage, with blues, soul, and hip-hop interweaving to create a unique soundscape. This environment nurtured my love for music and storytelling. The challenges I faced in my early life, including losing family members to violence and battling poverty, provided a wealth of material for my lyrics. These experiences instilled in me a resilience and a relentless drive to succeed. In 2010, I founded my record label, Paper Route Empire. This move was a declaration of my intent to stay true to my vision, to produce music that was authentic and reflective of my experiences without the interference of major labels. Paper Route Empire became a platform not just for my music but for other artists who shared a similar ethos of independence and authenticity. We built a brand that was synonymous with quality, realness, and a DIY spirit that resonated with fans worldwide. My debut mixtape, Paper Route Campaign, dropped in 2008 and marked the beginning of a prolific career. It was followed by a series of mixtapes that steadily built my reputation in the hip-hop community. Each release was a step forward, a testament to my growth as an artist and my increasing confidence in my craft. My music is characterized by its raw honesty, its reflection of the harsh realities of life in the streets, and its celebration of overcoming adversity. In 2016, I released my debut studio album, King of Memphis. The album was a critical and commercial success, reaching number 49 on the Billboard 200. It was a powerful statement, an assertion of my place in the rap game. The success of King of Memphis was a validation of my approach, proving that it was possible to achieve mainstream success while remaining independent. One of the pivotal moments in my career was my collaboration with fellow Memphis rapper Yo Gotti. Although our relationship eventually turned sour, leading to a high-profile feud, it was a significant chapter in my story. The beef with Yo Gotti culminated in the release of Play With Yo Bitch, a diss track that added fuel to the fire. This feud, while controversial, kept both artists in the public eye and demonstrated the competitive nature of the rap industry. My music often addresses themes of loyalty, betrayal, and the importance of staying true to oneself. Tracks like 100 Shots recount real-life incidents, such as the time my SUV was shot at multiple times in Charlotte, North Carolina. Miraculously, I survived the attack unscathed, an event that only bolstered my image as someone who could not be easily taken down. This incident and others like it have become part of my legend, reinforcing the idea that I am a survivor, someone who faces challenges head-on and comes out stronger.
At the ages of 16 to 17 and onward, he turned to the streets for a means of income. His grandmother often did not allow Thornton to have friends visit their home, but on occasion let homeless friends stay with the family. In 2008, due to encouragement from his friends, Young Dolph released his first mixtape, Paper Route Campaign. Seeing its local popularity, he decided to fully invest himself into rap. 2 years later, he formally established his label, Paper Route Empire, in 2010, an independent record label inspired by the likes of Master P and Baby, and subsequently released his first mainstream mixtape, Welcome to Dolph World, that same year, hosted by Atlanta DJ Scream. In 2014, Young Dolph would make an appearance on Sway in the Morning to discuss the project. During the interview, Dolph would touch on his decision not to sign a record deal with Yo Gotti, explaining that he would rather see his own investment in himself through than latch on to another artist's movement. Dolph would later point to Yo Gotti taking offense to Dolph's decision as the root of their beef, although Gotti has never confirmed that notion. The friction between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti became apparent 2016 when Dolph sent a subliminal shot at his Memphis counterpart. Using Twitter to let his feelings be known, Dolph alleged that Yo Gotti wasn't fond of his growing success. Tweeting bro went from being my Gobber 1 fan and wanting to sign me to being my biggest hater in reference to Gotti's failed attempt to ink Dolph to his CMG lady. Despite Dolph not mentioning Gotti by name, it was clear who Dolph's words were aimed at and would set off a chain of events that would result in the beef escalating quickly. Young Dolph raised a few eyebrows in February of 2016 when it was announced that he would be naming his debut album King of Memphis. Fellow Memphis rapper Yo Gotti had repeatedly referred to himself as the King of Memphis, so Dolph's album title seemed like a shot directed at Gotti. Although Gotti would make no public comment on Dolph's decision, those in the Memphis rap scene, as well as the rap community as a whole, considered the title a slight towards Gotti and Dolph's attempt at overtaking the throne. During an appearance on Hot 97 February 2016, Young Dolph downplayed his beef with Yo Gotti, going as far as to acknowledge the rapper as being one of his earliest supporters. "It's really overstated," Dolph responded when asked about the rumored tension between the two Memphis reps. Young Dolph also cleared the air about the title of his LP, King of Memphis, stating that it wasn't meant to be a diss of any kind, and that it was more inspired by him and his crew's mentality. The Young Dolph and Yo Gotti beef began to take a turn for the worse on March 2, 2017, when Goddess CMG artist Black Youngsta posted a clip on his own Instagram account disparaging Dolph and calling into question his claim of being King of Memphis. Black Youngster upped the ante by showing up in Young Dolph's stomping grounds in Memphis with a few of his goons. Capturing the scene on video, Black Youngsta and his crew took a stroll through South Memphis's Castalia neighborhood on the hunt for Young Dolph, while armed with heavy artillery. Although Black Youngsta and company would not run into Dolph, the clip was enough to know that this particular beef is deeper than rap. When Black Youngsta began dissing Young Dolph, many believed that Yo Gotti was responsible for his artist's decision to take the beef into his own hands, but the CMG boss would state otherwise. During an interview with Tim Westwood, Yo Gotti wouldn't address a beef with Young Dolph. On September 9, 2016, months after exchanging words with Young Dolph, Black Youngsta declared the beef as squashed during an interview, sharing that Yo Gotti actually liked Young Dolph. Despite their tension, Youngster laid the beef to rest on his end, but Dolph would not acknowledge that the war of words were over, leaving.
In addition to my solo work, I have collaborated with a wide range of artists across the hip-hop spectrum. From 2 Chainz and Gucci Mane to Megan Thee Stallion and Key Glock, these collaborations have expanded my reach and showcased my versatility as an artist. My work with Key Glock, in particular, has been noteworthy, resulting in several successful joint projects, including Dumb and Dumber and its sequel. These albums highlight the chemistry between us and have been well received by fans and critics alike. Beyond the music, I am deeply committed to giving back to my community. The struggles I faced growing up in Memphis have made me acutely aware of the challenges that many young people face. Through various philanthropic efforts, including charity events and donations, I strive to make a positive impact on the lives of those in my hometown. Education, mentorship, and providing opportunities for the youth are causes close to my heart. In 2020, I announced that I was considering retirement from music to spend more time with my family. This revelation was met with mixed reactions from my fans. While many understood and respected my decision, others were saddened by the prospect of losing new music from me. However, my passion for creating could not be easily quelled. The lure of the studio, the thrill of crafting new tracks, and the love for my fans brought me back. My return was marked by the release of Rich Slave, an album that delves into the complexities of being a successful black man in America, navigating the intersections of wealth, race, and societal expectations. Rich Slave was another milestone, debuting at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and becoming my highest charting project to date. The album's title and content reflect my ongoing dialogue with my circumstances and the larger societal context. It's a candid exploration of the dichotomies and contradictions that define the modern African American experience, all wrapped in my signature style of storytelling. Looking back on my career, I am proud of the path I have taken. My story is one of defiance, of carving out my own lane in an industry that often tries to box artists in. I have stayed true to my principles, maintaining control over my music and my narrative. My legacy is not just in the tracks I've released but in the independence I've championed and the inspiration I've provided to other artists seeking to follow their own paths. The future holds many possibilities.
The door opened for further turmoil. Young Dolph dropped a diss track levied against Yo Gotti that saw the rising star taking the gloves off and throwing jabs below the belt. In addition to vicious broadsides like, no gangstas that beef with dykes, and alluding to having relations with the mother of Gotti's child, Dolph also paints his nemesis as a hater. The rap community took a deep breath when it was reported that Young Dolph was the target of a shooting in Charlotte, North Carolina, in which over 100 rounds were fired at his vehicle. Fortunately, Dolph was unscathed due to the SUV he was riding and being bulletproof, but the incident did little to faze the Memphis rapper. He hit the stage at a local venue later that night where he performed his Yo Gotti diss track play with Yo Beach, a sign that what many deemed as a message in relation to his beef with Yo Gotti was not a deterrent in any fashion. Months after declaring his beef with Yo Gotti as old news, news broke that Young Dolph was the victim of a shooting in Hollywood and rushed to the hospital. While details were scarce, it was reported that Dolph was outside of Show Palace near the intersection of Hollywood and Highland at the time of the shooting. A day after news broke of Young Dolph's being shot in Hollywood, LAPD announced that an associate of Yo Gotti was charged with attempted murder in connection to the incident. According to Detective Megan Aguilar, a spokeswoman for the LAPD, Corey McClendon, a member of Yo Gotti's entourage, was arrested the day after the shooting and held on $1 million bail. LAPD were still looking for 2 other men believed to have been involved that could possibly be connected to the shooting. After being arrested on suspicion of attempted murder the day prior in connection to the attempt on Young Dolph's life, Yo Gotti associate Corey McClendon was released without charges. Law enforcement have yet to make any other arrests in connection to their investigation. On November 17th in 2021, Thornton was fatally shot in Memphis whilst visiting Makita's Homemade Butter Cookies, a bakery he frequently visited whenever he was back home. 2 gunmen in a white 2-door Mercedes-Benz gunned him down. An autopsy revealed that Thornton had 22 gunshot wounds from bullet entries and exits. Some wounds were sustained in the forehead and back. Crowds of hundreds of people swarmed the scene of Thornton's death for hours. Police had to prevent individuals from entering the area while they investigated Tennessee House Representative London Lamar and Memphis Councilman J.B. Smiley reacted by calling for a curfew in Memphis to prevent civil unrest and violence. Thornton was laid to rest on Tuesday, November 30, 2021. A service was held at First Baptist Church, Broad Street. The family's caravan of black SUVs was escorted by security and Memphis police to the cemetery across from Hamilton High School, Young Dolph's alma mater. On January 5, 2022, police identified one of the suspects responsible for the murder as 23-year-old Justin Johnson and issued a first-degree murder warrant. A reward of up to $15,000 for information on the suspect was offered by the Tennessee authorities. Johnson had an established history of criminal charges and violence, as well as ties to organized criminal gangs, and was a rapper under the name Straight Drunk. Another suspect, 32-year-old Cornelia Smith, who was arrested for the theft of the car used in Dolph's murder, was indicted on first-degree murder, weapons possession and theft charges on January 11th, the same day Johnson was captured by police in Indiana, after law enforcement received over 500 tips leading to his arrest. 27-year-old Shundale Barnett, a passenger of the vehicle Johnson was driving, was also arrested. On January 12th, Johnson and Smith were indicted on first-degree murder and other criminal charges, while Barnett was charged with being an after-the-fact accessory. After Johnson and Smith struggled to find legal without a lawyer. If you don't have a lawyer hired on February 4th, I'm going to hire a private attorney to represent both of you all. He claimed he was unable to afford to hire an attorney. On February 11th, both Johnson and Smith pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder. On November 10, 2022, a third suspect was indicted for the murder of Young Dolph and the conspiracy to murder Thornton, 43-year-old Hernandez Govan, who was alleged to have ordered the murder of young Dolphins. It is likely that the trial for those accused of murdering Young Dolph will not occur until 2024 due to the severity of charges and the discovery procedures by the defendant's attorneys. The city of Memphis approved street renaming for a street in the honor of Thornton. The street was changed to Adolph Young Dolph Thornton Jr. Avenue, which is located on the intersection of Dunn Avenue and Airways Boulevard, just east of Castilla Heights, where Dolph was raised and not far from where Dolph was killed.